Hello, everybody out there in entrepreneur land. And my name is Jeffrey Davis, and this is Radio Entrepreneurs. And we continue to stream stories of business, entrepreneurship, and how people are adapting to this a chaotic economy that's in constant flux. And every week we like to speak with Mark Furman, partner at Tarlow, Hart and Rodgers. It's Entrepreneurship and the Law, and Mark Furman. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, Jeffrey. Great to be with you.
Nice to be with you too, Mark. The rules change every week, don't they?
They sure do. I was on 2 flights in the last 10 days. And the first flight, the mask mandate was in effect. And then on the return trip, the Florida judge had issued an injunction against the Biden administration's mask mandate on airline and railroad transportation. So, you may have seen some of the news stories where people on the plane were cheering the lifting of the mask mandate. So by comparison, I would say 90% of passengers on the way, my first flight, wore masks. You always have some people who wear it under the nose and some people under the chin, but most everybody had a mask on. On the flight back, very few people masked. So it's, now voluntary on airplanes and planes, and the Biden administration has appealed the decision. It's a nationwide injunction that got issued. So we'll see what happened there. But I think, we're at that stage now in the COVID era where it's always just total confusion for what business owners can and should do. But I think the, private companies have a right to set their own rules, as long as they're not discriminatory in some fashion, discriminatory against religion or discriminatory based upon medical condition. But, I think the CDC is still feeling like on these kind of confined places, people should wear masks. But, we have this strong history in our country of individual freedom, individual choice. And that's a strongly held view. We have these protesters in front of the mayor's house here in Boston, because of mandates that existed in Massachusetts. But clearly we're reaching the point where the mandates are going away in this country, and with rare exceptions. Philadelphia implemented one not long ago for a brief period of time. But in general, the trend is towards individual choice. And that means for businesses, perhaps there was a little bit of it made it easy when the government had mandates in effect to decide what to do. But I think now it's really up to each company to decide what's best. And I think certainly the airline industry is thrilled that the mask mandates have been lifted. I think they think people will be more inclined to travel. Plus, it's huge symbolism that the worst of COVID is behind us, even though there's plenty of COVID out there still. But, the world is different because so many people are vaccinated and in many cases boosted. And although it's apparent that that doesn't give one 100% immunity by any means from getting COVID, a lot of the worst effects from COVID seem to be diminished for folks who have been vaccinated. So, I worry about the babies. I was traveling with a baby who is a year old and certainly not vaccinated or able to exercise choice whether to wear a mask or not because too little. So anyway, that was my most recent experience. But the legal issues around COVID just continue in the employment area. And now whether there should be back to work mandates, how frequently people should be required to go back in to their places of business, to what extent is remote work here to stay. We at my firm continue to not have a requirement as to folks coming back into the office, work from where you can be most productive. And we have not seen a diminished productivity from that stance for us. But a lot of law firms and a lot of businesses are now back to work 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and in some cases every day. So,
You know, what I find tough, Mark, is that you sort of said it. Your firm is flexible, another firm is not flexible. It's definitely a recruiting market so it's an employees market. They can move around more freely. There's a lot of opportunity out there for employees to increase their compensation. And you know, when you're working in one company and you see a separate set of rules in another company, I think it creates a lot of, you know, issues for people. You know, how come we have to do it this way? The other company's done it this way. When there's not one consistent standard across the board, I think it makes it tough for employers, because since we're all recruiting and we want a proper culture beats strategy, you know, we start thinking, well, let's do what's going to make people happy, maybe not do what's best for the business.
right. And I think what's best for people differs based upon their situation. For someone who's an empty nester and can replicate my workspace in the office at home, frankly, wherever I am, it's not that hard for me. It's actually, you know, saved an hour and a half or 2 hours a day of commuting time. But for folks whose home environment doesn't allow them to work efficiently, you know, those folks are in the office every day. They can be. Excuse me. Because being productive at home is very hard for some people. So, but you know, we had a you know, little get together for someone who's getting married this weekend, and it would have been nice if everybody could have been there in person to celebrate this wonderful event coming up. And you know, you lose something by not being together. You know, but we're trying to you know, we're trying to have social events that bring everybody together. We're becoming regulars at a certain winery that somebody we know is a part owner in, where we have get-togethers, and we've had magicians and you know, things like that to try to keep the connectivity of the people together. So nothing's perfect. It's, you know, and it's all trial and error, as you know, as you try to figure out what the right thing to do. And it's not one size fits all. I'm hoping there's a little bit of an opportunity to, with a little more flexibility, to recruit. It broadens the geographic region from where you can recruit people now.
Right.
You may have, compensation in Boston may be much higher in some more rural place. But if someone is talented and has the ability to work remotely, it may create a opportunity. We'll see. We could change the rule next month, Jeffrey. We're trying to figure it out like everybody else.
Well, it's like Philadelphia. Things could just change overnight. You just never know. It could change that quickly. And I think employees and employers have to be prepared for that. I think it's all very important. And again, as I said, I think we're all managing through chaos right now and trying to create stable cultures despite what's going on. And I think you put your finger on, a big part of what's going on. And there are a lot of factors affecting the economy, including inflation and supply chain, war, that are affecting everybody. But if somebody's looking to find out more information about how to deal with this economy and find you at Tarlow, Hart Rodgers, how would they connect with you?
I can be reached at Furman, FURMAN at tbhr-law.com, or my telephone line, 617-218-2025.
Thank you very much. Remind everybody, this was Mark Furman, Tarlow, Hart Rodgers, and this is Radio Entrepreneurs.